We have a new hero type in Entwined Heroes, and we're going to dig into what that means for you and why you should probably skip this cow. That's right, I'm saying it right up front. I think you should skip the cow. Here we go. Let's talk about Ryoma first, and Ryoma is an interesting unit, and I love the art. Let's go into Ashido Regento here. So this has Slang, Distant Counter, grants defense res +6, dodge, and neutralizes units' penalties. This is an Omni tank, and you can see everything coming together in that form. At the start of combat, you get a bonus of +14 in combat to all stats, a flat DR of 20% of the speed, and then you get an additional special flat DR that's 20% of speed as well. So it doubles when the special procs, and then get true damage of 40% of the speed, and that's only when your special procs. It is... it's never a great thing when that is tied to a special. I'll just say that, but that's a very high amount of true damage. That is nice. The big thing you want to notice here is this unlocking Ashido Regento style. And instead of waiting for that, because they make you go through everything before you get there, we're going to jump right into it. And this makes this unit a ranged melee unit, which is the thing we do now. So this unit can activate this style and attack from 2 spaces, and it has to be exactly 2 spaces. It also increases the speed check threshold for follow-ups by 10, which is nice, and has the whole weird counterattack thing where if the foe is armored and range 1, or if the foe can counter regardless of range. We've been through this before, you guys have seen this, and this is neat, especially the fact that you can activate this every turn. This is nowhere near as powerful as Byleth and doesn't really break the game in that sense, but it does show you a little bit more about what they're looking at and how these styles are going to be. They'll probably become a little bit more cookie cutter, which is not a bad thing. I mean, we don't want them to have unique things every single time, because when they try to get too unique, bad things happen, but yeah. We've seen IS when they try to get too creative. Let's get back to the unit though. Gust is, we're still waiting for the next, speed-based special to that. But then we have Duelist's Blow, and this is new. If unit initiates combat or is within 3 spaces of an ally, grants attack speed +9 to unit, and reduces damage from foe's first attack by X. This includes Brave, and if unit initiates, it has a flat DR of 15. And if you get attacked into, it has a flat DR of 7. It's okay. I mean, I would rather have it on the defense, but I guess they're worried it'll be too powerful compared to all the things that are coming out now. This also neutralizes effects that grant special cooldown. Sorry, it's full tempo. Full tempo right there, which is nice, especially for a unit like this that is depending on proccing a special in order to get true damage. That's a big deal. This is a really good A skill, and I mean that's really all I have to say. It's very nice. It'll be best for either pure melee nukes or units that have DC in their weapon though. I want to get to Bushido Tenet next though. So at start of player phase or enemy phase, you give Fringe bonus, which if you remember, this is bonus doubler 4. And then no follow-up. So bonus doubler 4 allows you to pick up bonuses from units around you, and then it has I believe this still has the +4 to all of those as well. That's good. I mean, it's more stats. The in-combat effects, you get a phantom speed +7. You inflict attack speed defense -5 on foe, and you get true damage equal to 15 plus the max cooldown ×5. We've seen this before. The problem is they keep giving us Slang, and Gust at this point has a max cooldown of 2, and that's okay. You've got a true damage of 25, right? That's not bad. Past that, flat DR of 15, and a boosted damage equals the total DR from foe's first hit, and that resets after combat. So that whole reflective thing, you've got it here. We've seen how amazing that is. That is very, very nice. And then restores 7 HP to give this unit some, sustainability. I don't know. As a B skill, B skills have to be really, really amazing and in order for you to keep them. And this is definitely better than the ones we have out right now for Omni tanks. But I always, every one of these Omni tanks, I look at them and I'm like, can this survive Kimila? Yeah, that's where we're at right now. Attack speed Faith is easily the best C skill you have for Omni tanks. The bulwark plus the damage reduction is quite nice. And then Tumultuous Echo, and this is the new Attuned skill, which gives basically Brutal Tempest out as an Attuned skill. That is just like the other skills like this. You can inherit it to melee, infantry, and flyers. I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of fun things we'll be able to do with that. So this is a good one. I like this quite a bit. Okay, let's get to the damage analysis on this. And the problem is I'm looking at this and the numbers look really good. 67 flat DR, true damage of 62, boosted damage of 120. The state of Omni tanks is so weird right now, and really what you want to do with this unit is pair them with someone like Dimitri and essentially go in and try to take out Camilla. Or whoever the main nuke is, but like 90% of the time, so I'm talking about AR here, that's really what you're trying to do. In something like SD, this is more going to be a melee frontliner. I'm not sure he really holds up in that state though. 67 flat DR is nice. Don't get me wrong. It is, and you're seeing that right. Like that is on the higher range of things right now, but it just, you have to do so much to be able to counter Camilla. And a lot of that is leaving your unit solo, or maybe not solo, but not within 2 spaces of another unit. And there are supports that we have that can help you with that. It does take a lot of arranging in any mode, really. That is not just Aether Raids, but that is any mode trying to avoid Camilla has to do with, being solo. The true damage is nice. Keep in mind that is tied to his special. So for instance, if this unit is getting a brave hit or even a double hit, you're only going to get that probably on one of those hits. And if I'm mathing correctly, he should be able to get off the special once every other hit. And the problem is when I look at that though, a lot of times I'll have that compared to units that do get it just every turn. So I'll look at that and it's more like 31, even though I do take the max here. So I take that as you will. If I'm looking at comparable damage, probably closer to if you gave Erica Reflex, because you can see because of the Reflex, the boosted damage just goes through the roof. And that's not bad, especially because of how this unit is going to be very survivable. If you're attacking into someone, I think that's where this unit is really going to shine. Not so much when you're being attacked, just because enemy phase is difficult right now. If you look at the Omni tanks, I know some folks don't like putting Vantage and Omni tanks together, but I feel like they perform similar things in that you put them out and as an island with a whole team supporting them, they are supposed to take on the entire rest of the team. And so in that regard, I have him in the tier 1 range, not quite the tier 0. I will have to have someone prove to me that they are better than Fallen Malaleer, who is just a boss right now. And one of the few Omni tanks that can really get the job done. But yeah, past that, this is one of those things, and I got fussed at the other day for having, like for instance, Erica in tier 3. The problem is the drop, the tier gap between tier 1 and tier 2 is huge. Like that's a big drop. And so you have units that can do things in tier 1, and in tier 2, you're struggling a lot. That's not to say you can't omni-tank. I mean, I'm omni-tanking with Sharena this week with moderate success. So understand you can still use these units if you like them. Just the higher up you go, the easier the job is. That's the big takeaway there. But I think we need to talk about the next unit. All right, so we've got Rearmed Hinoka here, and I am confused. Very, very confused. Okay. This is normally what we see is a step forward for arcane weapons, and I was talking there and you missed the fact that unit just warped, which is really nice. Let's go back to this. So, Arcane Crimson. We have Sling. We have inflicts attack speed defense -5 on foes, and that's 3 rows, 3 columns. And that's, keep in mind that that's always. So this is helping your team, which is nice. I mean, -5 is just not that much. And the way they offset that is the in combat buffs went from 14 to 5. So in a lot of ways, this is a not as good weapon. Because I don't know. Anyway, it's fine. I guess you're not using res anyway. I don't understand why that was a sticking point, why they needed to, but hey, what you're really hearing in my voice is that I was looking at giving this to Sharena, and I still think Johanna Lance is probably better, which is nutty. You get true damage of 15% of attack, flat DR of 15% of attack, preempt pulse, which is nice, and restore 7 HP after combat. So, yeah. This is pretty much the same thing that we've seen. So this is not anything new. There's a slightly different flavor, and don't listen to me whine. It does really come out to about the same level of stat bonuses. The big thing that you get there, and the reason I'm really kind of grumbling, is that if it's not an in-combat bonus, then it doesn't go towards your true damage and your flat DR. Even though you're helping your team, you're not boosting up the performance of that unit such that they get better stats. And so much of true damage and flat DR is that percent of a stat. And you're not getting that here. So I know the math technically ends up the same, but when you calculate up the bonuses for the true damage and the flat DR and all of that great stuff, you take a hit. 15% of 5 is, I mean, that's not much, but it's still grumblesome. We'll just put it that way. Let's move on though, because this is a nice unit. You have Arcane Crimson, you have Haste Slice, you have Blue Skies 4. If you've heard me talk about this at all, like this is the way you start off with building a melee flyer or calf. And then things get interesting because we have air superiority and it has pass built into it. That's interesting. That is very, very interesting. This is melee flyer only. So if you want to build the cam we have at home, this is the B skill for you. Inflicts speed defense -4 on foe and deals damage during combat equals 20% of the greater of unit speed or defense. And also, if foe is cavalry or flying, or if decreasing the speed difference necessary to make a follow-up attack minus blah, 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 potent follow-up. That's really good. So you get potent follow-up, true damage, some amount of debuffs, and pass. This is an amazing B skill. It really, really is. That is very, very nice. Let's go to encouragement past that, and I do actually have a little cheat sheet here. So start of phase, if within 2 spaces of an ally, to self-analyze within 2, you get attack speed +6, treachery, and incited. Treachery has lost some of its luster because we have so many things that has lull in it, that daunt effect that takes away bonuses. So it's still good. It's just not as good as it used to be. And then in combat for foes within 3 rows and 3 columns, inflicts attack speed defense -5, neutralizes bonuses, and has 50% piercing. And then at start of combat, you get a +7 damage, full no follow-up, and then potent follow-up equals 100%. So we've already taken air superiority, which is good, and you've made that 100% of that damage every single time. That's really, really nice. And I'm sorry, before I get yelled at here, I forgot one thing with air superiority, and that's that it has warping in it. So it's... Okay, let's move on. It's maybe the most powerful thing on this banner, which is crazy. I'm sorry, back to encouragement. This is a good preference C skill, like this is, but the big thing with this unit is going to be the fodder. That is an incredible piece of fodder. Let's move on. So, this unit is... Okay, 71 true damage is very high. And if you can get Desperation on this unit, then that's 3 hits of full 71 true damage. And you're going to have a good time with that. And the only reason boosted damage is so low is because Hay Slice is on there. So understand when you get a full kit on this unit, things are going to be different. But I think the thing we're missing is all of the places that you're going to be able to use air superiority. And that is going to be a fascinating piece of tech there. It is limited to only melee flyers. I know I've said that, but I have to say that again. And that is a big thing. But this unit is... Well, so here are the rankings, and understand, you really have to understand here. Melee nukes are incredible. Like, we talked about the tier gap. The tier gap here, it hits between tier 2 and 3, but understand, like, still, Dimitri is actually still a pretty decent nuke, as is Sharena. I still regularly use Sharena. The thing that you start missing is the special stuff. So I have this unit at tier 2. She has higher damage output than both Elm and Erica. The issue is they have more special stuff, and she doesn't have as high a damage output as Hresfelger and Fur, and she doesn't have damage output and mobility of Cam. So that's where we're at. Just understand, melee nukes are stacked right now. Tier 2 is good, and getting air superiority is also very good. So yeah, that's going to create some very interesting player phase clears. All right, next we have Scarlett, and Scarlett is our demote, and I don't have much to say about Scarlett. Her preference inheritable is okay. We've seen it before. This is double X. Keep in mind this goes into the main pool, and so we'll have Flow Flight in the main pool. I think we already have speed defense catch. We might not, but that's the biggest thing. If you are wanting to build Scarlett, then you need to summon for both Scarlett and Hinoka, because you want air superiority in that B skill. I'm just saying, I am that high on it. It's very good. Let's move on to our headliner, and this is the first of our entwined units. This is Ash. I think you've already seen enough about her art. It's very good. She looks really spectacular. So, what is the deal with this unit? Because there was a lot about how easy it was to take this unit out in the Tempest trials. First, we have Entwining Horn. We have Slang at start of player phase or enemy phase to self, support partner, and allies within 2. You get Imbue, which Imbue is very nice. It grants healing and reduces deep wounds. Grants resonant shields. You get neutralizes foes bonuses. So this is already good support. Not great, but good. At the start of combat, if you're transformed, you get a bonus of 14. 14. True damage of 20% of the defense and flat DR of 20% of the defense. Special DR, you get an additional 20% of the defense. So, I mean, that's nice. The effective defense on this kit alone is 84. So you're getting 16 off a regular hit, and then 32 off of a special hit. So, I mean, that's good. You get a guaranteed follow-up, and then you get Hardy Bearing if you get a defense check. Then you get the standard beast transformation. This is okay. I thought they were going to do a little more. Historically, Ash has actually been very, very bulky. Past that, we get Flame Wall. You get boosted damage of 70% of defense with special triggers. Then if you get a defense check, you get a 40% DR. It's unpierceable. This is Ice Wall, but for defense, which is good. We like options. Moving on, we have Distant Attack Defense Form, which is not great. We just listed a whole bunch of melee nukes who all get bonuses if you're next to people and they have other bonuses themselves. Attack Defense Form, because of that, doesn't have nearly as much value, especially if you're not a savior, and this unit is not. And we have Lagu's Friend 4, which is over a year old. It's still very good, but I'm just, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, let's move on. Air of Openness. Okay, this is a mouthful, and it will make more sense when we go over the Entwined Heroes. It makes transforming easier. We're not going to read all that. It just does. And it occurs on defense as well. Allies within 2 spaces can warp within 2 spaces, and you get Bulwark. You deal +7 damage at the start of combat for support, partner, self, and allies. Within 3, you get attack defense res +5, a flat DR of 7, and next attack deals 40% of foes hit pre-DR. Okay, highest only. This is important because what we've been getting with reflective damage so far has been stackable, and it's not here. So this doesn't stack with something like, well, if you were to put reflex on this unit, reflex is stackable with other types of reflex, and it's a lot of fun. This is not that way, which is, it's disappointing. Like, everything about this unit just says they nerfed it a little bit. And I'll show you what I really mean here. I love clothing that is not in your face, which is why I love these hoodies with the Fire Emblem symbols on them. I think these are such elegant designs. Go check those out in the store, and let's get back to the episode. Let's move over to the damage analysis, and a flat DR of 55. Now this is base kit. You can probably optimize this a bit, but not a lot, because Lagu's Friend 4 still is the best for damage reduction right now. So understand that. It is going to make you proc Dragon Flame much more easily, but you're stuck with your C skill, and so really what you can play with is the A skill. And yeah. So flat DR 55 is probably about where you're going to be. True damage of 46, which is okay. Boosted damage, which I desperately need to rebaseline, is 83, which is nice. But I mean, you have to be really, really special to survive things right now, and that's what this unit is trying to be as a melee frontliner, and she just doesn't make it. You can really see it in the effective stats, and that's something that this is not always the case, okay? But generally, I look for stats that are over 100. I looked at a tank recently that had over 100 for attack, defense, and res, and that it was a very good unit. But this is not getting there. And so the lack of bulkiness that you saw from the Tempest trials is likely going to carry over, because they didn't put a whole lot of additional bulk in the C skill. That's kind of where we're at. I think I would have rather than putting true damage on there, I would have rather them just double down and just flat DR the heck out of this unit. But that's neither here nor there. I'm not overly impressed with this unit. Let's move on to the melee frontliners, and that's why I have this unit all the way down in tier 3. Let me know if I'm not seeing anything. It happens from time to time. Anytime I put these units really low, I always worry a bit. But I'm not just overly excited. So let's move on, because I really want to talk about the Entwined effect and what that's doing. This is an interesting gimmick, and I feel about the same way as I did about the aided heroes. And I put together like a history just so you could see what exactly is going on. Like we had asset heroes in 2021, Rearmed heroes in 2022, Attuned heroes 2023, and aided heroes were last year 2024. And it's giving you Omni +1. Yeah, the big deal was you got a little cat. The big thing with this is, let's move to the next, you get a fun symbol that says S+, as opposed to just S for both your summoner support and your ally support. Now, an Entwined hero themselves gets an extra 2 stats +2. So in this case, in the case of Ashe, it's attack defense +2. And then when you summoner support them, you get HP +7 and attack speed defense res +2. Now, be very careful because I made this mistake and I had to be corrected. I got all excited because I thought that was an additional thing to summoner support. This is not additional. This is in total. Regular summoner support gives you HP +5, attack speed defense res +2. This gives you HP +7. So it's 2 additional stats. The big difference is when you ally support this unit with another one, you get attack speed defense res +2, and it's a map wide range. So it is like 2 aided tokens that you're giving this unit if you also ally support them. I mean, that's not incredibly powerful. So let's say you have an aided hero, and let's take Ashe, and you summoner support and ally support them, and the ally is on the map. And keep in mind now, instead of the regular ally support, this is map wide, so you can be anywhere. So as far as additional stats, in total, she's going to have HP +7 and attack speed defense res +2. If you look at the difference between what she would have had just summoner supported versus what she has as S+ ally and S+ summoner, the difference is just +2 to all stats. That's the big takeaway that you should get from this. Now, because you can give this bouquet out to someone, you are getting the additional +2 to other stats. So in total, you're getting 14 additional stats on a unit. So I've been harping on this lately because I want to be careful, because we're kind of getting into the mindset again that stats don't mean anything. And that's what we really mean is there's a threshold for stats meaning something and you have not crossed it. So let's go back to the beginning of the episode and why I don't think you should summon for this unit. I think whoever follows, who has the next Entwined bouquet, is probably going to be a better unit than this. They, at different times, they have a history of baiting folks like this. And I mean, it's been different. The first Ascendant hero was Fjorm. They were very good. The first Rearmed hero was Leaf, and he was not as much. Attuned, you had Triandra and Peony, and they're both very good units. And then aided, you had Reagan, which was very lackluster. So what you have here is a waiting game to see who comes next with this Entwined bouquet. But I am betting that it is going to be an upgrade to Ashe. I don't see a place for her in the current meta. And so I would say if you're summoning for Ashe, go for it. Absolutely go for it. If this is your favorite unit, I am not stopping you. If you are summoning for Ashe for the Entwined bouquet, wait. I think that's the biggest thing. I have a couple units that I would love to give the Entwined bouquet to. They're mostly named Sharena. so that's a thing. But just understand, I be patient with this. I don't see this as a meta breaking unit, and I think you will get better value later on. I just did a video on Fortune's Weave. I am so excited about that. Go check that out. It talks about whether this is really a prequel or a sequel. Members, you are amazing. I love getting to talk with you guys. You are incredible. Thank you for all that you do. Take care and schedule an appointment with your FEHologist real soon.